everyone, it's Andrea from Movers and Bakers. Today I'm going to share with you how I make my coffee and walnut cupcakes. These are beautiful, light, fluffy cupcakes packed with those beautiful flavours and the most gorgeous coffee buttercream on top. Let's get baking. So to start with, I have turned my oven on to preheat. It's preheating at 180 Celsius and I have got my cupcake tin lined and ready to go. In a large mixing bowl, I'm going to use a stand mixer, but you don't have to at all. You can do it by hand, although that is a bit more work, or with a hand mixer, but I'm using a stand mixer for today. I'm going to pop my butter. This is unsalted butter, and I'm going to give that a quick mix just to soften it a little bit. And to my softened butter, I'm now going to add in some soft light brown sugar. And once your butter and sugar are completely combined, we're going to add in our dry ingredients. And before I put my dry ingredients in, I'm just going to scrape the bottom off my bowl. And this is just going to make sure that everything is loose enough and it's all going to mix properly when I add my dry in. To my butter and sugar, I'm going to add some plain flour, baking powder, bicarbonate of soda, and some salt. We're going to sift all that in, and while I'm sifting this in is a brilliant time for me to remind you to hit up that like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. Right, time to get mixing again. So when I mix this now, what I am looking to happen is for my mixture to turn into the consistency of damp sand. So once your mixture has reached this damp sand kind of consistency, we're done there. For now, we will come back to that. So in a jug or a bowl, depending on what you've got, I'm going to put in my yogurt. And in there, I'm going to crack in 2 eggs. And I'm going to add in some espresso powder. And give all of that a quick mix. So once your ingredients are mixed together, your wet ingredients, we're going to pour them into our dry mix. And time to get mixing. And once your mixture has come together, we're going to turn the speed of your mixer up for about 30 seconds just to get some air into your cake mixture. That's my 30 seconds up, and I now have this beautiful, silky smooth cake mixture. Directly into my bowl, I have here some walnuts. Now, you can chop these up, but I actually prefer breaking them by hand. I just find if I chop my nuts, I get lots of almost a powder off the skin and things, and I don't really like that in my cupcakes. So I just break it off by hand, and I just break them into chunks and pop them all in. So I'm going to do that with my walnuts, and then we'll be ready to pop them into the case. So once you have got your walnuts in there, we're just going to fold those in to our cupcake mixture. So once you have mixed all your walnuts through, it is time to put our cupcake mixture into our cupcakes ready to bake. So I like using an ice cream scoop just because I find I can measure out more evenly how much mixture is going into each of my cupcake cases. So that's what I'm going to do, but absolutely use a couple of spoons or however works best for you. So there's nothing special about this at all. I'm just going to pop my mixture into my cases, and then these are going to go into my oven and bake for about 17 to 18 minutes. And we will get decorating them as soon as they are cool enough to do so. Right, so my cupcakes are out of the oven and cooled down completely, and they are ready for me to decorate them. So to make my buttercream, I'm going to put some unsalted butter, this is at room temperature, into a mixing bowl. You can do this in a stand mixer if you want. I'm doing it by hand this time, or electric hand mixer. And I'm going to beat my butter up until it's really soft and really spreadable, almost like margarine. I want it to be that soft. So once your butter is really soft, you can see it's gone slightly paler as well. And if I show you with my spatula, you will see just how lovely and soft it is. That is exactly what we want for our butter to be like. So I'm going to put about half my sugar in here. Now, icing sugar does tend to have a habit of going everywhere, so go slow when you start mixing it up. So this has already been sifted. It's really important to sift it to get any lumps and bumps out. If you are taking it straight from the packet, I would encourage you to sift it before it goes in here. And then we're going to start really, really slow. Still going to get a cloud of sugar. Once you have mixed your sugar in, we are going to add in some coffee. Now, I have just dissolved my coffee powder in some boiling water. So I'm just going to put all of that in. And because I think they go really, really well together, I'm actually going to put a little bit of vanilla, and that's just going to add a little bit of extra sweetness, but a different kind of sweetness. And I think it just works so well together that I have to do it. So all I'm doing is half a teaspoon of vanilla. And once you've mixed that in, we're going to add in some more sugar. So once you've incorporated all your icing sugar, we're going to turn the speed right up to get lots of air and make your buttercream really lovely and fluffy. And that is my buttercream done. Now, if you find while you are mixing that your buttercream is very thick and you want to loosen it a little bit, feel free to add a tablespoon or two of milk. Whatever milk you prefer using is fine. Just make sure when you've added the milk that you mix it in again on a high speed to get that air back in, even with the liquid incorporated. So now I'm ready to start piping my cupcakes. So I have a large piping bag here, and I've got in the end of it a 2D piping nozzle. You can use any piping nozzle you want. You could just slather this on your cupcake without piping it on. This is just what I'm using today that I'm going to show you. So I've got my piping bag. I'm going to pop it into a glass. And what that's going to do is that's just going to make it a lot easier for me to get my icing directly into my piping bag instead of me having to hold it. So we'll spoon our lovely buttercream straight in. And as you put it in, just push it down into your bag. So you're trying to get all the air and everything out so that you've got just buttercream and not any air bubbles or any pockets of air. And when you've got it all in your piping bag, gather the top together and twist it round, and that's going to stop your buttercream coming up your bag, so we're going to push it just down. And there we go, it's come out the end, and now we're ready to get piping. So I'm going to pipe a rose on my cupcake, and the way you do that is you start in the middle and you do your swirl going out to the outside of the cupcake. And there is my lovely coffee buttercream rose. On top of that, as my final little bits of decoration, I have some walnut halves here. So I'm going to pop a walnut half into the top and a little coffee bean. And there you have it, my coffee and walnut cupcakes. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit like if you have, and that subscribe button. Thanks for joining me today, friends. See you next time. Happy baking.